6月4日ワーナーミュージックジャパンからリリースになったレッド・ゼッペリンのファーストアルバム、セカンドアルバム、サードアルバム、この3枚のアルバムの未発表曲、それからなんだろうな、もちろんその最新リマスタリングについてなんですけど、ジミー・ペイジがもうほんとたっぷり語ってますから、今日は皆さんジミー・ペイジのインタビューたっぷりとご覧いただきますよ。
Well, the outtakes of what there is on the second companion disc. But because we're moving around, there's not lots of little rough mixes and things. There's enough to get through on two. Two's got some really interesting, some really interesting things. For heaven's sake, a whole lot of rubbish on there. But just by the time it gets to three, there's more to be able to listen to, and there's more choice, if you like. 3 and then 4, Houses of the Holy, and on it goes, so that there's just more to be able to draw from. But all of it is good. All of it is good. It just means to say that I could shift the alternate one to make it even more interesting from a perspective of people listening to the studio album and the companion disc, and getting much more out of, I think they will, from all of the second, third, and fourth, all of them. They'll get an idea. I called it like a portal, a doorway into the world of Led Zeppelin's recording, because it just tells so much about it, and there's no doubt that it's time for people to, they know that. I mean, there's been all these bootleg things of stolen tapes that have gone on and on and on. And I really felt that if I did this project, I had to do it really properly, and I'd make sure that I knew what bootleg things were out there, so that I could I can play tracks to you today that the bootleggers have never even heard. And that was my job, to do this properly.
移民の歌もアウトテイクとは思えないくらいすごくいい感じだと思うんですけど、あの曲はどうですか？
I'm not so sure that it's even got the final vocals on. On the end part, there's different vocals that get, but even with what there is on there, and there might even be another bass overdub to come. But what is important is that you can hear some of the. It's got guitar overdubs, obviously, but you can hear the ideas that are coming along, in it, and certainly within the mix. But it's just an experimental mix with the sum total of all the overdubs at that point in time. I think it makes it, again, that makes it a very interesting companion to the original. It's worthy. It's all worthy, it's good.
あの頃はもうアイディアがいっぱい出てきてしょうがなかったんじゃないかと思うくらいアイディアがいっぱい詰まってると思うんですけども、当時振り返ってどうですか？
Well, I wrote all of it. I wrote all of it more or less until the last album. Yeah, I was writing. Yeah, I think you can see. Yeah, well, it's driven by the guitar, and the guitar is coming in. It's coming in with very many sort of colours. From the first album or the second, and then the third album, it's a lot of acoustic is starting to come in on the third album, although it's there on the first album. But the guitar is dictating what's going to be happening on the albums, that's for sure, because I'm writing it. So other people are writing it too, but the main thing that's kicking it off is the guitar.
サードアルバムのアウトテイクも素晴らしかったんですけども、当時3枚目出た時にちょっとアコースティックすぎるっていう風にプレスに結構批評されましたよね。あの当時やっぱり当然頭きたと思うんですけど、振り返ってどうですか？
Because they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
They didn't understand it. And then what is interesting, a lot of people say to me, "Oh, it's my favourite album, the third album."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit ahead of the time. But what I must say to you is that when you listen to all of this stuff, it's not just about the guitar playing, because it's the performance of everybody, with John Bonham, John Paul Jones, and Robert Plant. It's just absolutely, every single one is fantastic. But it's the fact that we play so well as a group. That's what nobody else had. But as far as the acoustic guitar, these songs were written on the acoustic guitar, and it's the same acoustic guitar that plays Stairway. I mean, it's literally being recorded on Stairway. A lot of the material was written. I mean, Ramble On was written on the acoustic guitar, even though you probably think of it more electric. But yeah, the acoustic was always there. It was very, very strong. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, for example. So it wasn't unnatural for me to be able to pull back and do the acoustic work for, or make it more acoustic featured on Free. However, when the initial when the initial rehearsals were done and we got together, I had Immigrant Song already, you know, sort of written. The whole idea of it was the whole sequence of it. So I was still thinking electric, even if I was playing it on acoustic. I mean, it was rarely did it. Yeah, well, okay, let's. I mean, you know, I don't want to go too much into it, but that is a major fact that the things were written on acoustic 80% of the time.
でも3枚目のアルバムを出したことによってツェッペリンは単にハードロックグループじゃないっていうレンジの広いバンドだっていうことを世界に知らしめたんじゃないかと思いますけど、どうですか？
Well, Led Zeppelin, even from the first album has acoustic music. I will say, Baby, I'm Gonna Leave You, because I think that I know that nobody else had even dreamt of doing something like that, any other set of people. But then it does have that sort of riff-induced music, which gets to be known later as hard rock. It's also got very experimental areas in it, you know, like the sort of in Dazed and Confused and How Many More Times with the Bow. I mean, it's avant-garde, it's everything. It's got so many different areas in it where other people were a little bit more like that. Ours is big, huge landscape that just gets larger, wider, broader, deeper as it goes on. The reason why the Led Zeppelin albums, it was intentional. It wasn't an accident. It was intentional that every album was going to be different. But the one thing that we had, because we took our tapes to the record company, we weren't running at their pace, you know. We were sort of saying, I knew that there was no way that we should get anywhere near a singles market. And that's why we were doing albums which were able to reflect where we were at each given point of time. There was a definite reason why each album was very different. But the best part of it was that we didn't have to have singles, because we never said, it was always we're doing albums, didn't want to do singles. So by the time you do the third album, a lot of people are just totally confused, and they're saying, well, there's no Whole Lot of Love on the third album. The fact is they're missing all these wonderful things. Well, we know, and Passage of Time, the Immigrant Song, is something everybody loves, and it brings a smile to their face when they hear it. It's pretty good. And, you know, Since I've Been Loving You, all these wonderful things that at the time, because there was no Whole Lot of Love on Free, they couldn't quite understand it, you know. And it's the same thing when we did the fourth album, which has got so much wonderful, again, it's a broad category of work and colours and flavours and textures, that by the time you get to the Houses of the Holy album, well, where's the Stairway to Heaven? It's But, you know, I'm not thinking singles. We weren't thinking singles. It's like we're just doing these bodies of work, and because of that, that's how you arrive at something like Kashmir along the way, because you don't have to keep messing around just doing a format single, which would have been soul destroying for a band like this. It was too inventive.